Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sahat Nali. I'll be your instructor for the upcoming Chem 11 semester. And what I want to do in this video is to welcome you to the class and also to discuss several of the components of the website that I'll be using to place all the materials that you will learn in class. So the first thing to note here is the website address itself, so make sure you have this bookmarked or saved somewhere because you need to come back and check on this quite often. As you can see here, the website itself is organized into different menus listed on the left, and you can click on these menus to expand them and to take a look at the content of each one of them. Most of these are fairly self-explanatory, so I hope you'll be going here as soon as you finish this video and taking a look at the website and reading the different contents. But the one that I want to highlight right away is the syllabus itself. This is important because it contains all the different components of the class and how the class is structured. And it's really important that you actually read this right away and understand what I expect out of you as students in this class so you can succeed. What I will do when we meet for the first time in lecture sometime next week is that I will do a very quick quiz on the syllabus content. So I really expect you to read this through very carefully, highlight parts that you don't understand, and ask me during class time, during that first lecture, what the different components are if you're not clear about them. But I will ask you questions on that in a quiz setting. Okay. The other thing I want to highlight here on the website, as you can see, is that there is information about myself, my phone number, and my email address. And this welcome video will always be located here as well in case you missed it and you want to watch it again. If you're unsure about certain components, you can always watch that welcome video again. The other thing I want to point out here is the calendar for the class, and it's located right here. And this is a Google Calendar, so you can click on this and get information about what is going to happen either in lab or lecture on a certain day. Anytime the activity takes place in lab, it will start with the word lab on it, and anytime the activity is going to take place in the lecture hall, it's going to start with the word lecture. And quizzes and exams are highlighted in red. So anytime you see something that's colored in red, that means there's a quiz or an exam or a final exam. So as far as where the location of the quiz and the exams are, if you can just match the time. So if the time here is the same time as the lab, then that quiz will take place in the lab. And then here obviously is the time that's the same as the lecture time, as you can see in the other days. Then that exam is going to take place during lecture. Okay, one of the things that's different about this class compared to other classes is that this is what's known as a flipped classroom. So if this is the first time you've heard of that term before, then what I want you to do is go to the Learning Activities menu and click on Flipped Classroom. It will explain to you what this term means, but let me just give you a brief description. A flipped classroom is basically a classroom where instead of listening to lecture while you're in the lecture hall, we would be actually doing a lot of problem solving while we're in the lecture hall. So so that's considered flipped because usually you're doing most of your problem solving, homework type problems at home, but now you're going to be doing it in class while I'm present. Now on the other hand, you can ask, where are you going to learn the material then? Where are you going to get the lecture component? Well, now the lecture is going to be done at home. So how are you going to get that lecture material? Well, what I've done is, but how are you going to get the lecture at home? Well, what I've done is I have basically recorded all the lecture that I usually give in the lecture hall as a series of YouTube videos. And what you can do now is you can play these videos fairly easily by going to the lecture topic menu here. And you can see that there is quite a few lecture topics that we would go through. And each lecture topic is further divided into a series of subtopics. Okay? So what you want to do is you can go to one of these lecture topics, let's say lecture 1, and what you see here is that there is link to each of those lecture topics. Basically, the same one like shown here is also shown here. And also, if you click on one of these lecture topics, you'll see a page that looks like this, and all the other lecture topics will look very similar, except that the video will be different. So then how do you see the video? Right now the video is not displayed, and this is not an error of the website itself, but it's an error of the web browser. So if you have Chrome as your web browser, you usually would see a shield symbol here. You just need to click on it and click on Load Unsafe Script, and that should show you the videos. Okay, so now what you can do is you can play these videos. So for example, if I click on play,
first chapter,
you can hear that the video is, saying certain things. That's basically the lecture that you would have gotten if you were to go to a lecture hall, let's say 3-4 years ago before I started to do the flip lecture. Okay? If you want to make this bigger, you can go to full screen, etc. And you see that what you can do is you can pause the lecture, as I just did, and you can fast forward it to certain parts that you missed perhaps. You can obviously move it back. You can do whatever you want with this, the way that you can do with any YouTube videos. Okay, and the length of these lecture videos have been set to usually around 10 minutes or less, or ideally not longer than 15 minutes. Okay, so what you have to do is for each class meeting, there's usually an assignment written on the calendar that would say, topic 1A and 1B, for example. What that means is you have to watch all the videos that are part of topic 1A and topic 1B. Now you notice that once you finish watching all these videos, there is this thing on the right side, which is basically an online quiz or questionnaire is what I call them. And what you have to do is just answer a couple of simple questions that are related to the videos that you just watch. Okay? And so you have to basically put what you just learned into application. This is exactly like the type of problems that we would work on in class. If I were to lecture in class, I would usually give you a couple of examples to show you how to do the problems, and then I'll tell you, okay, here are some problems, you go and work on it yourself. Now, you do these problems, and then when we meet in class, what we'll do is we're going to discuss them. That's the first thing we'll do. Go through all of these problems, talk about what's the correct answer to each one of them. And then after that, the rest of the class time would basically be spent on working through other problems that are similar, more difficult, and even very advanced problems. Okay? So that's sort of the idea of this flipped classroom, is that out of class you're going to be watching these videos, and then in class you're going to be going through a lot of problems. So used to be in the past you'd be listening to lecture in class and then you're going to go home and do your homework. Now you're going to listen to lecture out of class at home or anywhere you want to be, on the bus or wherever it is, and then you can come to class and do your homework, okay, with my help. And so that's the big difference, because a lot of times students have difficulty understanding how to transfer that information they learn in lecture to a problem, to solving a problem. Now, hopefully with my help in class as well as the help of other students, you'd be able to do that more successfully. And not only that, you can of course pause and fast forward and do all these things you can with the videos that you can't do if I were to lecture live. Okay, so I hope you will take advantage of the videos and really watch them slowly, and then take good notes while you're watching them, just the same way as you would when you're attending lecture. Now, as far as the notes are concerned, I know that sometimes it's hard for students to take notes because they don't really know which components are important to write down, which components are not. So for each of the video topic, like topic 1A for example, I've provided basically a template for you to take notes of. This is just a Word file that you can download, and it will basically ask you, what did I say in certain videos, and then you can just write down those information, so that becomes your notes. Okay, now feel free to take your own notes in addition to that, or instead of it, that'll be fine as well. Okay. The other parts of this website I'll discuss when we meet in the first day of class, but I really just want to give you a brief overview, particularly talking about this idea of the flipped classroom. The other thing I want you to do is really look through these other parts of the learning activities, okay? We would spend a little bit of time talking about this scenario, this little story here called Khaled's Dilemma. I'm hoping to do some activity on the first day of class if we have time. So what you want to do is read through this particular story, this scenario, and then look through the advice, and then at the bottom, do this little exercise that's asked of you, which is to score how good the advice of each of these students do you think as far as solving the problem that this person has. Okay, and I really encourage you to go through the other parts of the website as well. Even though we'll discuss this on the first day of class, I really want you to have some exposure to it beforehand, so you know what I'm talking about when I see you for the first time in class. Okay? Before I end this video, I just want to mention one more thing on the website, which is this part that says how to succeed. And I want you to, again, read through this carefully, to really take this into heart as far as how to, how you can actually succeed in this class. And the big idea here is, if there's nothing else, it's really time. This class is one of the hardest type of classes to take in college, because you have a science class which has a lot of technical knowledge associated with it, a lot of mathematical knowledge you need to bring in from other subjects, obviously from math, but it also has a lab component in it. So as a result, there's going to be a lot of assignments that you have to do every week, just from labs, and there will be quizzes you have to take, there will be exams you have to take, and it's really hard to compare this class to any other class that you've taken in college. Okay, so if you've had experience taking other courses, for example, like psychology, English, math, or other courses in college, but not science before, then I will tell you that this course would be a lot harder than all those other courses. This is just based on experience from all the other students who have talked to me about it after they finish the class. So I want you to, start this semester with the idea that you're going to spend a lot of time on this class. And don't be surprised if it's more time than you ever spend on any other class that you've taken before, because that's how it's going to be. And the earlier you realize that and come to terms with that and know that that's what you have to do, the more successful you're going to be in this class. The longer it takes you to realize that you need to spend a lot of time on this class, the less successful you're going to be. Okay, that's really the bottom line. So I'm going to repeat this advice again when I see you on the first day of class, but it's really, really important for you to start understanding that time really matters here in terms of commitment. How much time you're spending in the class translates to how successful you're going to be in this class as well. Okay? So that's the end of the video. I hope to see all of you in class on the first day of class next week, and we'll discuss more about the different parts of this class, the syllabus, as well as the website and the calendar and everything else. Okay.